Girlfriend now ex is pregnant and wants to give up for adoption. I don't. What are my rights? Texas. Girlfriend just broke up with me. She's 3 months pregnant and told me that she wants to give up the baby for adoption and there's nothing I can do. She's 19, I'm 20. I want to be the father to this child, and if she doesn't want the baby it's fine for her, but I do want the baby. Can she do it without my consent? What are my rights here? We're at Houston, Texas. Redditor's reactions. Huge update after. Redditor 1. Texas and other states has a putative father registry to protect parental rights of a father when a mother is attempting to adopt out a child. The Notice of Intent to Claim Paternity form is used to add the father's name to the state paternity registry maintained by the Texas Vital Statistics Unit. The purpose of the paternity registry is to protect the parental rights of fathers who affirmatively assume responsibility for children they may have fathered, and expedite adoptions of children whose biological fathers are unwilling to assume responsibility for their children by registering with the registry or otherwise acknowledging their children. FC Chapter 160, Subchapter E. The form is used in situations where the father and mother do not have a continuing relationship and the man is not listed as a presumed father on the birth certificate or acknowledgement of paternity. Redditor follow-up. This is what the Texas Attorney General says about your specific situation. I am not married to the woman who is pregnant with my child. Could someone else adopt the baby without my permission? Yes. Texas law requires unmarried fathers to act very quickly to avoid losing their parental rights. If a man thinks his child is going to be placed for adoption, he can register with the state's Registry of Paternity through the Department of State Health Services. A father can register before the baby is born but no later than 31 days after the birth of the child. There is no charge for registering with a paternity registry. For more information, call Paternity Registry at 888-963-7111 extension 7782. Redditor 2, are you ready to be a single dad? Hopefully, because that's your future. Establish paternity. You can get full custody and she can pay child support. Op answer, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't stressed about it, but I'm guessing anyone would be regardless of age. I'm up for this and want to accept my responsibility. Redditor 3, get yourself on the Texas Putative Father Registry ASAP. This is a preemptive legal maneuver which signals your intent to claim paternity and preserves your legal rights to make sure that you receive notice about any court proceedings regarding the child adoption, severing rights, etc. so you can intervene. Update. Girlfriend now ex is pregnant and wants to give up for adoption. I don't. What are my rights? Texas. Short version, I'm sitting here and my baby daughter is right here next to me, taking a nap. Long version, if you remember, I asked about how I should go about stopping my then pregnant ex from leaving the baby for adoption. I listened to the suggestions. Got a lawyer. Put myself on the registry as well. She really wanted to fight me over this right until the last month of the pregnancy. I was fully ready to fight her legally to get my rights as the father. But in the final month she changed her mind and decided that give me full custody instead of giving up the child for adoption. So we had no messy legal right over it. The childbirth and custody situation went very smoothly. My lawyer took care of it quickly and my ex made it easy as well. Her family didn't like this, but they couldn't do anything about it in the end. So I have my baby daughter. Taking care of my baby is difficult but certainly worth it. I feel like I have something to live for. My family has been super helpful and with their help we can make sure my daughter is happy. I also got a promotion at work. I realized that I need to be more ambitious because I now have a baby to provide for. A higher position was open at my work and I asked for the promotion but they told me I'm too young. I offered to do the job for as a trial 1 month without any extra pay only to prove that I can do it. After a month they gave me the job, as most of you suggested and my lawyer did too. I had my lawyer file for child support after I had full custody. My ex didn't like it and wasn't expecting it. She actually called me names and various insults and all of that. But I didn't say anything. Just that communication should go through my lawyer. She said she regrets making it easy for me to get the baby. I don't know. I didn't need the child support payments for daily care of my daughter, but I think she deserves to have something saved up for the future and for her college. I didn't have the chance to go to college, not smart enough. I'm not good at studying, but I want to make sure my daughter has the chance. My sister-in-law is helping me set up a 529 plan with Vanguard, and I think I'll send most of the child support payments there once I start receiving them. Thank you all. Redditor's reactions. Story 2 after. Redditor 1, I'm dying to know what your rights would have been had she not changed her mind. It's crazy that it was even an issue. That child is yours and no lawyer should have ever needed to be involved. That said, had she given it up for adoption, she wouldn't be paying child support for the next 18 years. Edit, I see that she really had no option to adopt without his permission. Kind of lucky for Op that she didn't know that. Redditor follow up, but how often are the roles reversed where a father doesn't want to keep the child and ends up having to pay support for 18 years? No one feels bad for him and they'll call him a deadbeat if he doesn't want to pay. You're a parent. Regardless of what's beneath your pants. If one parent wants to keep the child, your obligation as the other parent, legally, is to provide support. Redditor 2, this thread is a little eye-opening. Post upon post from mothers about their kids involved being told to sue for child support. Dad sues for and wins child support, and he's apparently in a shoal to a huge number of you. Redditor follow up, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills reading this thread. Child with 2 parents, custodial parent gets child support from non-custodial parent. In what world is this wrong or controversial? Redditor 3, on one hand, I think good. If men have to pay for unwanted children, so should women. On the other, smarter and more reasonable hand, I think this is just another example of the unfairness of forcing people to pay for unwanted children. Redditor 4, I actually feel terrible for the mother. Because if she didn't want the child, she could have easily aborted the baby and this man goes, after the mother gives him full legal custody, and makes her pay child support? I don't agree with this at all. Redditor follow up, well, that's equality. If this seems unfair, so is making a man pay for an unwanted child. Redditor 5, I'm glad Op got his child and I think he did the right thing by going for the child support. It was completely up to her whether or not to abort. She chose to have the child and the child deserves to be supported by the mother. Redditor follow up, I'm really torn on this. Yes, she could have gotten an abortion. But birthing the child and giving it up for adoption is an option that also allows for not having financial responsibility for the child. She had a plan, but now has to pay child support instead because the father wanted full custody? That being said, if the roles were reversed he would likely have to pay child support, so it does seem a little fair. Story 2, 30M31F having the in-laws living with us is destroying my relationship with my wife. TL, Doctor, in-laws have been living with us for 3+ months with no end in sight. Help. My wife and I have been married for about 1.5 years now. She comes from a culture where the family always comes first and as she puts it, parents are treated like gods. About 3 months ago her parents, my in-laws, came to stay with us. Ostensibly it is a temporary visit, but they've been here for 3 months with no return date in sight and no return plane tickets booked. This alone is causing friction. I am an introvert by nature and thus, having anyone around for 3+ months regardless if they're my in-laws or my own parents drains me quite a bit. Especially since there's no defined end date in sight. We don't speak the same language, so I can't communicate with my in-laws, and anytime my wife is out of the house and it's just me plus the in-laws, the situation feels extremely awkward. My wife is also a student currently, and so we are a one-income household dependent on my job, except now the mouths to feed have doubled. Furthermore, I don't have issues with my mill so much, but my Phil is a completely different story. First of all, my Phil has cheated on my mill numerous times. I understand this has no impact effect on me and should really be none of my concern, but regardless, I have a low opinion of people who cheat on their spouses. My Phil does nothing to help around the house. He never washes the dishes, in fact, he just leaves his dirty plates at the table after we eat until my wife, my mill, or myself pick up after him. He sits around the couch all day watching YouTube videos on his phone. He never cooks, he never cleans, he doesn't help out with the yard work even though he said he would when they first came here. He doesn't pay for any of the grocery bills. I wouldn't mind nor expect a guest to help with household chores if they were staying for a week or two, but at 3+ months they are no longer guests. In my opinion, they are members of the household and expected to chip in. My Phil is Muslim and doesn't tolerate pork. But he cheats and drinks. I won't bother going into the hypocrisy there of selectively choosing which rules from your religion you like to follow. To the point where he won't even let us eat pork or have pork products in the house, otherwise he'll get upset and angry. Now, I don't give a s about pork. Do I like eating bacon for Sunday breakfast every now and then? Yeah, but it's not a deal breaker. It's more about the principle of the matter. It grates on me that this man, who is our guest and whom we are literally providing everything for, has the gall to tell me how to live in my house. I have asked my wife numerous times because of the language barrier I can't communicate with Phil to ask her father to help around the house or change his attitude. Her response is that in her culture, the father is treated like a king and she cannot ask him to change any of this. He would get too angry and she doesn't want to cause any trouble. I've also asked her if she can ask when they are flying home, and if they're going to be here longer than 3 months, if they can help pay for some of the household expenses. Again, her explanations were I can't ask them when they're leaving because that would be me chasing them away. And I can't ask them to pay for house expenses, because they raised me and provided everything. It's not fair to ask them to pay for anything. Last night my wife and I got into an argument crying session, and to be honest, neither of us know how to fix this. She feels stuck in the middle due to her loyalty and obligations to her parents, while trying to support me. On my side, I have issues due to all of the reasons mentioned above. This is destroying our relationship, and I don't know how we could make it work for another 3 months, or heaven forbid, if someday they decide to move in with us permanently. My wife has already said if they want to move in with us, she would have to accommodate them. Any advice or personal experiences would be appreciated. This is killing me, and it kills me to see how much stress my wife is going through also. Redditors' reactions. Redditor 1, she feels stuck in the middle due to her loyalty and obligations to her parents, while trying to support me. She's not in the middle, she's not on your side and just doesn't want to tell you. I'd tell her to sort out a hard date for her parents to go home, or I'd reconsider your options, because if you're struggling with 3 months, who wouldn't? Enjoy 30 years. Redditor follow up, absolutely this. She may have known in advance that her parents expected to come live with them. This situation is very possibly understood to be permanent, and Op is the only one not in the loop. 3 months is a very, very long time to stay as a guest with no specific reason. Wife has indeed chosen sides. Redditor 2, did she know they were gonna do this before they came to visit? This is her responsibility. I think your relationship is doomed either way. Cultural differences are major things that need to be addressed before a legal commitment. Redditor follow up, honestly this. She knew that things are done a certain way in her culture and that there was a good likelihood that this would be the outcome. She already made the choice to marry outside the faith and the culture, and now she's a bad daughter. She needs to be willing to continue her role as bad daughter by asking her parents questions like, when is your return flight? And telling them we are not in our home country and Op is not from our culture. He did not agree to have you move in or financially support you like a Sil from our culture would. This conversation will probably kill her relationship with her parents, but in this situation she's going to have to choose between her marriage or her relationship with her parents. Redditor 3, honestly? I'd hire a translator and have the convo yourself. Sounds extreme, but if Phil is like that, you as the man of the house would probably carry more weight. This situation is untenable.